This is going to be kind of like Dejavoo on the Dejavoo, because I had previously done a video review of the Benchmade Model 740 Dejavoo, this knife right here. I termed it a preliminary review because I really didn't have any carry time with the knife, and I said as much in my review. But now that I own it, this knife, I want to redo the video because I want to share some information with you that I have found out about the blade, which is not good. And I want to give you the most accurate information I can in my reviews, whether it's good or bad. And I was pretty much enamored initially with the Dejavoo, and it really has a lot of good things about it, but it also has some negative issues that I'm going to share with you in this new review video. I'm probably just going to nuke or delete my last review video, and this will be the new replacement for it. So let's talk about everything about the Dejavoo for those viewers who didn't see it. Like, this is the first time we're reviewing it, and I'm going to cover the good and the bad parts. Let's get going. Lots to talk about. First off, what category of knife is this? I would term it to be a large folding tactical knife. It could be an EDC knife, and some guys are always asking me questions, hey, what size should I go with? I generally prefer the smaller blades for EDC carry. That's just what works best for me. Kind of like the ubiquitous Flash 1 that I show you in so many videos. It's just a great EDC knife. A larger knife like this kind of goes in the tactical or defensive, maybe offensive arena, depending on what you have to do. So that's what I'm going to term this. This is a large bladed folding tactical knife. And there's a lot of good things about it. First off, for being as large of a blade as it is, and it's almost a 4-inch blade, 3.95 inches, it's pretty light. It's just over 4 ounces. So they did a great job keeping the weight on the Dejavoo down. So good job on that, Benchmade. Now, they also did a good job of drilling out those liners. Let me get my flashlight here. And that, the liner drill out, where did I put that? There it is pretty much mandatory in my opinion. Anytime you can see the drilled out liner, at least on the non-locking side of the titanium liners, that pretty much should be mandatory by any manufacturer to lighten it up. So good job there, and that accounts for some of its relatively light weight at just over 4 ounces, 4.1 ounces. So good job on that. How's the blade? Well, the blade is outstanding. It's one of my most favorite things about the Dejavoo. It's a full flat ground, kind of a drop point leaf shape designed by Bob Lum, who has passed away. But he did a great job on this knife, and it's just a beautiful shape. Full flat ground. I love that. And it kind of has that stonewash finish on it, which is also very beautiful. Comes razor sharp, has an unsharpened swedge on the top, which is both functional for thrust cutting and it's aesthetic. So the blade is probably the coolest feature on the Dejavoo series. It's just awesome. And even though I did say it's large for EDC, this blade shape would lend itself nicely should you think you need that larger blade shape for your EDC or everyday carry tasks. Not bad at all. It's got the logo of Benchmade on that side, Bob Lum logo on the other side, and by the way, it's made of S30V steel, so that's another big plus. That's a very high quality, rust resistant, tough, good edge holding steel. I love it. Current darling child of the knife world. That'll change as the years go on. Now I'm going to get into, actually let's cover all the good things first, and I'm going to cover some negative things. Let's get into the handle size on that. That's another great thing about the Benchmade Dejavoo, is the handle is adequately large, and again, my hands tend to be on the large size, and I really appreciate having the length to do whatever grip I want. I can either go standard grip, a reverse grip, and either way I've got plenty of room on the handle to manipulate the blade with. That's excellent. The handle itself is made out of G10. They could have done a much better job checkering or actually putting any type of finish on the G10. In my initial video I said that moisture on G10 actually makes it lock in better. I will agree with that if it's water variety moisture. However, it's blood or something slick, hydraulic fluid, I would much prefer to have some type of checkering or patterning on that G10. Reference the Sig Tac Pterodactyl if you want to see how that's supposed to be done. Heck, even this Gerber Spectre has it. It's very nice G10 checkering on there, and they don't have any of that on the Dejavoo, so that's a hit. And I will probably modify my Dejavoo with a type of covering on it, and I'll make a separate video on that if I indeed do that. But the handle's nicely sized, it's nicely shaped, it's very ergonomic, very comfortable in hand, and that brings us to the thumb shelf. And this is a negative thing I'm going to say about the Dejavoo. Initially I said, yeah, I'd really like to have jimping here. I'm going to up that and say it's pretty much criminal they did not jimp this. And I know Benchmade watches my videos, and guys, if you do your subsequent versions of this knife, you really should get some sharp jimping here in that thumb ramp. The reason is because this is a large bladed tactical knife, ideally suited for defensive use, and if we do a thrust cut, it's very likely our hand's going to slip up off that thumb ramp, and along with that we just might lose bottom grip as well, and our whole hand comes forward and we do a nice little tendon cut on our own hand. So that's not good. Definitely put some jimping on that, and on the bottom while you're at it. Both of those should be jimped. I'd actually like to see a more pronounced thumb rest right here, believe it or not, but that might be a change of the entire design. How's the deployment speed? Wicked fast. It's very fast. Totally tight lockup like all Benchmades. Left to right, up and down. Looks like a Spyderco, doesn't it? Every time I look at this, I think I'm looking at a Spyderco. But that's a good thing, because Spydercos have such great designs. But the lockup is very, very tight. Very nicely done. Now another negative thing. The Benchmade Dejavoo does not retain its blade, hardly at all. You can very easily pop that blade out. There's no detent in there to retain the blade. And in fact, it's the easiest knife I've ever seen that you can just flick it. I can't do it and keep it in frame and not hit the table, but flick it out that way and the blade will come right out and lock. That's mostly a bad thing if you were to ask me. I'd much rather have a detent in that blade so it stays in the handle, because it may come out someday when I don't want it to, and that's not good. Now, getting to the pocket clip, like I said in my first video, it's a good pocket clip. It is mounted, at least for me, on the wrong end. I always prefer a butt clip mount with a tip-up carry. However, seeing as how this has no retention, really, the Dejavoo, this is probably the best way to carry this knife, because if that does open, you will be assisted by gravity and to keep it closed. Since if it was like that, gravity would tend to open it more, perhaps. And also, if it is going to open, I'd rather have it pointed down. So Benchmade and future models, you need to put a detent in these blades so it retains better. A good example of that would be the Lone Wolf Harzy T2. This has a good detent. It's not huge, but there's definitely something keeping that blade in the storage position in the handle. So that could be improved. Now, the deployment hole on the Dejavoo is adequate, and it's definitely good enough to pop that blade out. And you can see they beveled the G10 handle so you can get access to the hole. But I would like to see it lined up better. See how it's kind of offset? I would like to see it moved back and also enlarged a little bit so we could have full access to the deployment hole, just like a lot of the Spyderco designs I've shown you guys. Nevertheless, that's a minor issue on the Dejavoo. It's still quite accessible as long as you're barehanded and don't have gloves. If you have gloves on, this might be a little bit tough to get to the hole, but like I said, the detent issue, heck, you can just pop it out like that, and it makes a nice sound while you're at it, by the way. Also, the handle, being as long as it is, makes a nice impact Kubotan type device. Again, we always reverse it like this, and it fits the curvature of the thumb nicely. Again, that's a big advantage of that nice long handle design. Kind of open pillar construction, torque screws throughout. You can adjust the pivot if you need to, and take the knife apart if you need to, which could be good if we give it a saltwater dunking. So that's a 740 Benchmade Dejavoo. I would give it probably about an 8.5 out of 10, which is kind of on the high side. The good parts are an outstanding shaped blade, great steel, good finish, quality throughout. Nice G10 handles, although they should be a lot better checkered than they are. They're not checkered at all. And good pocket clip. Wish it was on the other side, or at least give me the choice to move it. They need to improve that detent and also put jimping on those thumb ramps to improve this design. So overall, it's definitely worth adding to your collection. It's an excellent knife. Just be aware of these negative things that I've said about the Benchmade Dejavoo. it's real. Thanks for tuning in. Nutnfancy, more coming.